Hello everyone and welcome to what probably is my final video in the series of rundowns for last week's Darksphere Regional, which I came in second place. This is a match the finals match actually. I'm on the left playing my Mumbat City Hall NEH deck versus Brendan Jackson's Guys deck. Now this game I wouldn't say is a walkover, but it was pretty close. Brendan himself admits that NEH Fast Advance was definitely a weak point for this deck. And you see us uh, standing and going off the table simultaneously to check whether we can start the game. Okay, but basically, yes, guys really suffers against NEH Fast Advance a lot. I will explain more during the downtime later on in this game. But so basically, it wasn't a very difficult victory, not gonna lie, but there was still some very interesting points of decisions that I made, so I would like to showcase them here. So start out pretty solid start. Again, always respect HQ Ice just in case he runs Siphon. And yeah, leave RD open. I can in fact leave RD open for as long as I want because firstly, my opponent's not running Desperado. So he's not gaining value from running R&D. Secondly, no multi-access. Don't have to worry about deep digging R&D. Until he plays either of those cards, I'm more than content to leave R&D open. He plays a hostage for Tech Trader. I remarked to him right here, I absolutely love hostage for Tech Trader. I think it should be played more in guys. Tech Traders are so good, you actually want to see them on your first turn. Having only 3 copies in your deck just isn't enough. Just play those hostages. Spike comes out. Good choice given that there's a wraparound. Now here, there is a wraparound on HQ. I choose not to rest the wraparound, even though I think I might have an agenda in hand, 1 and 4. But even then, I chose not to res it, and he accesses another wraparound. This is a very crucial line of play. It seems for most people so tempting to res the wraparound to tax the spike. So he will only have 2 spikes left in his deck. What you don't realize is had I res the wraparound there, he probably would have bounced out and waited for a more opportune time to attack me, either via legwork or a count siphon. So if you want to play well, sometimes you must realize that resing ice is not always correct. The objective of the game is not always to tax the runner. For some decks it is. For NEH Fast Advance, you're not going to tax the runner out with binary ice like these. So what I did was to leave the ice unres. Make it very hard for him to come in to HQ again. He plays Spy Camera and sees a Jackson Howard. Then I double ice HQ with another wraparound. In fact, I drew all 3 of my wraparounds in such quick succession that all 3 eyes that you see on the board are wraparounds, and a Mamba Temple that gets trashed by Geist. So that's the other problem with Geist. While triple Tech Trader is insane economy once it gets going, until he finds all 3 Tech Traders, he's gonna have a kind of a hard time contesting my remotes, and this is where my asset spam can just run away with the game. But for now, I haven't actually drawn any Mumbat City Halls. Just like last game, it took me quite a while to find the first Mumbat City Hall. Because of this, I was not able to run away with the game. Had I found a Mumbat City Hall, I would be spamming temples right now, and the Sand in my hand would easily be installable, and I could easily res it with the temple money. This is what allows your deck to go out of control. And my opponent, having neither Desperado, nor Wizard credits, nor Clot, will not be able to stop me from resing Sand City grids for free. That is ridiculous. Instead, my opponent is given the opportunity to set up. With double Tech Trader into double Fall Guy, he immediately bursts into healthy credit range. This is not good for me. I wasn't very thrilled when I saw that. This means that he can trash my Sense anytime now, which means I have to be very careful with my Sense install. I cannot leave it naked, it needs to be protected by ice. Yet, most of my ice is already installed. You see I have no ice in hand, this deck is very ice-like, I need to warn you. If you want to attempt to play this deck, you have to be aware that for a significant number of games, you will probably only run with 1 ice until the mid-game. So wherever you place the ice is very crucial. Here, well, screw it, right? Screw it. He has too much money, you're gonna trash my Sand anyway, so I better get this Astro out of my head. And I do it with Shipment. The Shipment is not as relevant as it was last game. If you didn't watch the last game against Alex White's Haley, be sure to do so, because that is where I show how Shipment is insanely broken against Clot. But this game, he's not running Clot, he's not running basically he's not running Clot. So the shipments are basically for dodging siphons and any form of credit suppression. He plays a Polop here. Alright, so basically I want to dodge any credit suppression, so if he siphon spams me or anything of that sort, I can still score agendas from my hand from 0 credits. That is something he must respect. Now, I know there's a Polop on the table. He did not trash my Sansan this turn because he would trash it with the Polop instead. So what I do here is to bait him. I'm gonna install something on the Sansan, and he's basically forced to trash his Polop to stop me from running away with another agenda at this point. So he pops his Sports Hopper. This activates Tech Trader and gives him enough money because he only started his turn with 4 credits. So I started my turn, he only had 4 credits, so he needs 5 credits to trash the Sansan. So with the double pop, he now has a hell lot of cards in hand. I force him to draw an extra card with Guys because he has to, because I knew I had Sweep Sweep in hand. I was going to sweep the hell out of him, but that will have to wait. Right now I'm thinking what I'm going to do next. Sweep Sweep is 1 click. Installing that card was 1 click. I still had 1 more click left. I decided to activate the Mumbai City Hall. And this is where this deck can actually get quite tricky. I made a misplay here. What actually happened was I forgot that I needed to trigger any H before resolving the shuffle effect of the Mumbai City Hall. This is a mistake that can easily lead you to a game loss in a tournament, so be careful. If your Mamba Temple install triggers any H's ability, you must draw the top card of your deck before shuffling it, which actually means that you can see the top card of your deck before deciding whether to install in a new remote or install in an existing remote to avoid the draw. And here you see me just raging at myself because this could easily have been a game loss scenario. Of course, if it was eventually the TO came over and said that because the order of my deck was not altered in any way with DBS or Sensi Actors Union, he allowed me to simply take a draw because it wouldn't have made a difference, which was very kind. If he ruled that that was a game loss instead, I would have seek a compromise and alternative by installing the Mamba Temple that was newly installed on either the existing City Hall or on the Jackson Howard to avoid this problem. Either way, it is something you must be incredibly aware of. Now, most of you would know this Mumbai City Hall interaction because it is well and truly abused in decks with Heritage Committee. This deck cannot abuse the ability to look at the top few cards of your deck as much as a Heritage Committee deck does, but it is still something to take note of. Now, he tries to siphon me here, and this is where preemptively installing 2 eyes and not rezzing the innermost eyes helped me so much. Had their inner wrap round been res, he would have known better to install more breakers before going for the siphon, and the siphon would have been successful. By fizzling his siphon, I protect myself from losing the credit advantage, and that I prevent him from snowballing in credits. That is huge. Stopping the siphon was so huge, and of course, I still managed to hex his spike. So clearly, not rezzing the inner wrap round was a very, very good decision, and one that set my opponent back quite a bit. As if this wasn't a good matchup, it got a lot worse. His early aggression failed to pay off. Yep, so here we go. I reshuffle a bunch of temples back into my deck, so I can now install them with Mumbai City Hall with a card that he did not contest. So here I trigger Mumbai City Hall. I'm going to look at my deck. There are a bunch of temples in there. I find one temple pretty early on, but then I continue through the rest of my deck and I see the top card is actually another Mamba Temple. So I have the option of installing the top Mamba Temple or one of the lower down Mamba Temples. I install the lower down Mamba Temple, which gives me a mandatory draw of the topmost Mamba Temple. So this allows me to have a new Mamba Temple in my hand. Why is this good? This is good because I can now install that temple from my hand, like so, and he has to check it because it could be an Astro, it could be a Sansan. Whereas if I install more temples with the Mumbai City Hall, he would know that it's a temple and he wouldn't have to check it. So those are very subtle plays that you can make with Mumbai City Hall. I know it's quite stupid. It really shouldn't be this way, but it's still something very cute that you can do. And also, notice that I did not res the second Mamba Temple here, the one that I installed from my hand that I mentioned. I want to bait him into checking a face down remote. That would waste him a click because he doesn't want to trash my temples. Actually, he does. He wants to keep my money low. Good on him, but he doesn't know that there are more temples where they came from. Game continues on, and I res a Sentry Actors Union. Woo! Okay, big mistake, not checking those face down remotes. This is another reason why you have to waste so much time with the remotes against this particular breed of NEH deck. You can absolutely, definitely, so cannot let them fire off Sentry Actors Union even once, because this means an agenda gets buried at the bottom of the deck. This deck runs 10 agendas. By exiling one agenda to the bottom of the deck, you only have 9 agendas to steal. That's bad. At least until the deck gets shuffled with City Hall or Jackson, which usually doesn't happen towards the late game. So the Sentry Actors Union are must trashes even before they get rezzed. Unfortunately for my opponent, my Sentry drew into a Sentry. So you saw I buried the NAPD. It's no longer buried, but I don't care. I'm just going to get more temples out this way. And I'm going to draw the topmost card. This time remember to do so before reshuffling. Yep. And so this means that there's 2 face down cards right now and 2 face up cards. The 2 face downs are both temples. The last temple is in the bin, as you can see there. That's my first click. My second click is another install. As you can see, even a wizard will have a very hard time keeping up with this, let alone a Geist. Sure, you have 2 tech traders, but look at his board state. He has nothing on his board. This is horrible matchup for him. I feel so bad for him. But yes, I'm just getting out of control right now. There are 3 face down cards. He has no idea what these 3 cards are. Can he really, really afford to spend the next 4 clicks checking every single one of those cards? He can't. That's not Desperado. He can't. So all he can do right now is to set up for Central Digs. He goes for a spy camera, spying on me. It's a 15 minutes. No point. So again, 10 agendas now becomes 9 because that 15 minutes is absolutely worthless. He trashes the Sentry Union. Very good. Too bad. There's another one. Deal with that. I'm gonna get 3 more draws. I see the NAPD that immediately goes to the bottom. And this time I'm not gonna rescue it with the Mabet City Hall. Mandatory draw. Usually NAPD is a good card to keep in your hand. It's very painful for the runner to steal. But knowing that my opponent has 3 tech traders, I think it's a mistake to keep an NAPD that I don't want to score but he can easily steal in my hand. At this point, obviously I'm looking for the second Astro script. Just as with Alex White's game, I'm having a lot of trouble finding it. The Sentry Actors Union are doing a good job, and by now I should have had 6 points or something from scoring all those Astros and bills of Sands. But nope, that's not the case, because I cannot find those agendas. So at this point I'm just thinking, what do I ditch? What do I ditch? Or do I try to play the shipment? Yes, I do. I play the shipment to score the next Astro script. Yep, okay, I was lying. I did find the Astro script. Of course you expect to find the Astro script after 2 Sentry draws. So this is just a big problem for my opponent, who has to lock my R&D, which luckily he can kind of do with Spy Camera, except that he isn't really locking my R&D, right? I can just NEH draw through the card that he sees. And then he's forced to trash my Sentry Actors Union. He cannot let that fire off again. Unfortunately for him, as you see from my hand, I do have fast track. So that fast track can easily win me the game. But for now, I'm going to install another card, install another card, install another card, a bunch of Jackson Howards that will draw me my Project Build. I still haven't rezzed those Mamba Temples. I'm being a very sneaky person right here. I don't need those temple money, so I'm not going to res them. I'll wait until you force me to res some ice. Now he did spy my R&D again and saw nothing. But he is slowly drawing into some important cards. Most notably, some permanent breakers. At this point, he was basically digging for his Corroder, seeing the double wraparound on HQ. He knew that he didn't really have much hope on R&D, so he had to go for HQ. Unfortunately, the Corroder was nowhere in sight, and neither were his special orders if he was even running them. So, now that I have a bunch of assets that I actually want to res with temple money, this is where I start resing all of them. I res 1 temple for the pair campaign, and I'm about to res another temple to res a DBS. The pair campaign is good, it gives me money, some money to res the toll booth on R&D, but more importantly, I need the DBS to draw me into my 3rd Astro or a Project Build. Let's see what I draw here. Not very useful cards, I don't think. Still no Sands on the board. If I do draw a build at this point, I probably would score it for 6 points. I'm not sure. It really depends. But oh yes, I do have a 15 minutes in my hand, so I'm gonna score that. No question. 15 minutes install, draw a food. Food's useless. I'm probably gonna double advance the 15 minutes at this point, or play a shipment from Sands. Either way, my centrals are incredibly secure. I can't res the toll booth, but you bet those 3 wraparounds are keeping him out like crazy. So finally he finds some form of card draw. The Peddler, no Corroder. But he does get the Sports Hopper, and that allows him to draw. Hopefully he'll find his Corroder this time. And as you see, he's triggering a lot of trash abilities for no clicks. He's gonna get a lot of money while doing so. He didn't claim any money here because the install cost of the Sports Hopper mitigated the Tech Trader gain. He installs another 3 cards with, sorry, he gets another 3 cards on the board with Peddler. And will he trigger the Peddler here? Will he trigger the Sports Hopper here? I think he triggers one of them. And all this for only 2 clicks so far. Once he finds his Corroder, he can actually begin doing some work. He can play that legwork to steal the food from my hand. He can play a Count Siphon. I don't think he has any left, but he could. It's an option. Not gonna do much since I'm on 2 credits and I have a pad, but it is something, I guess. So, draw a bunch of cards with Sports Hopper. Still no Corroder. The spike is there, but no Corroder. No access to HQ. Counting cards. Gonna ditch a bunch of them after this. Yeah, very frantic digging at this point. Do you play the Street Peddler here? There's a third one in his hand. It's very tough against any fast advance. He goes for the spike. And then runs R&D. He doesn't know what's the top card here. I res Turnpike. Oh, it's not a Toll Wolf, it's a Turnpike. That's pretty bad news. I think that was the last click run, so he probably needs to get that Mongoose out. Good on him. So that's going to cost him quite a bit of money, which is kind of irrelevant at this point. The more important part is that he loses his spike again. Peddler triggers, drawing him a card. Spike triggers, drawing him a card. He's going to discard a bunch of cards. And after all that long and convoluted process, gaining money, gaining cards, trashing cards, doing stuff, he reaches the base of my server to find a biotic neighbor. No, that is not what I need at this point. Yeah, he doesn't want to see that, and I happily take the biotic label. Pretend to look at my hand for a bit, but no, biotic label is so good. Okay, so gonna have the biotic label in hand. Now that I have the biotic in hand, I want Ryu credits. Temple credits are no good for playing biotic label. I actually want some real hardcore cash. So with a pack campaign, that's good, but I'm gonna get more. Gonna card draw first. Shiny Astro! Shiny! I can't score it this turn though. What a pain. Well, I guess next best thing to do is to take a couple credits. Then next turn I would have the option of either Biotic Astro for 2 Astro tokens, or simply fast advancing for 6 points and an Astro token. Probably the latter, given I'm only on 2 credits. I ice up HQ here, because obviously I do not want him to ninja the Astro from my hand. And this puts him in a terrible position. I'm pretty sure he can't get through my HQ at this point, but he does. He found his Corroder, it's going on the table, and he legworks me. This was very sensible play by him here, and was the absolute right play. Well played to my opponent on that. That was his one shot at stopping me from running away with the game. Sure, he can't break the Archangel, but he does have a link. Not more than that, because he spent all his Sports Hoppers on draw. So you'll have to pay 5 credits to get past the Archangel. That's a very pricey gambit. That's 7 credits total. 8 now that I force him to pay 1 extra for the Archangel. Why did I force him to pay 1 extra? Because if he misses the Astro here, I can still score it next turn with my pack campaign money and the 1 credit I have. Unfortunately, he does hit the Astro on the first access and is about to find my food, but instead he only sees Biotic Labor and Fast Track. The 2 cards he doesn't want to see. That's the worst. Without Clot and without Turntable, he has no way of stopping Biotic Labor Fast Track, except by siphoning me. And I'm going to abuse that to win the game. Notice that I'm already on 5 points, I believe, because I do have the 15 minutes and a double Astro in my score area. So I was basically live to win the game. Yep. Do I have a 15 minutes actually? I don't really remember. Yes, I do. I'm on 5 against 2 right now. So sorry if I misled you. I do have 5 agenda points against his 2, and at this point I have no agendas in hand except for the global food, which I can't score. But I realized that Biotic Labor into Fast Track would probably win me the game. So it is at this point that I decide, well, I'm just going to take 3 credits and you can't stop me from winning next turn. I almost want to install, and then I realized that fact that Biotic Fast Track would win me the game, and my opponent can do nothing about that. He can't trash either of those cards. He doesn't run Utopia Shard or Imp. Yeah, I'll simply Biotic Fast Track any build right now, and I'm basically counting the number of credits I need to do so. Biotic Fast Track would cost me 4 credits, and I need to double advance an agenda, so that costs me 2 credits. Total cost 6 credits to win the game. I can only get up to 5 credits, but that's fine because the one more pack campaign money would win me the game. So I basically took 3 credits there, and I said it, and I basically said if you don't win the game right by now, I'll win. And he ran out of cards. Uh, that was a very messy bin. Nope, he doesn't even see an agenda on the top of my deck, so he is all but done right now. So all he has to do is to play out his turn, and I'll play out my turn. Yep, he runs archives as a last-ditch effort because he knew as well as I did. He's a good player, mind you, Brandon Jackson. That I had the game won. All I needed to do was to execute fast track Biotic Labor. And yes, I spit out the fast track, and he knew that I won. So that was the game. We move on to round 2, which was my Cake deck versus his Soul deck, with the video of which I've already published. Do check that out. It was a couple of videos ago. But for now, thanks everyone for being a great audience, and I hope you all have learned quite a bit from these top cut matches. I certainly have. It was a blast playing and getting to meet all these pro players, and it was nice having my 15 minutes of fame for once. Thanks everyone for watching and supporting me, and I hope you guys really enjoyed these series. Stay tuned in the future because I will be messing around with cards from the final pack of this cycle. Thanks for watching. Happy net running. Ciao.